and welcome. It's Monday Night Football, Soweto TV. My name is Kamzambata. Thank you so much for joining us after another formative weekend of Mzansi football in the DSTV Premiership. We're going to be discussing a lot of the fallout, especially comments attributed to Coach Brandon Truter about his opponents at the weekend. We'll also be wondering if certain players, the likes of which MUNDELE and KHUNE'S, does he still have a future at Kaiser Chiefs, because it seems he's getting further and further marginalized. And we'll also, of course, be looking at another player in MUNDELE who decided to take to social media and show what he's capable of in the photo collage and what he could possibly do for his employers, and they didn't use him. So we'll maybe speak about that. Does it take a while for players to acclimatize to conditions here in the local football scene as we know it now as the DSTV Premiership? I'm not alone. Let me take you through my panel. Joining me this evening, I have none other than Greg Etafia, who made his bow last week, Velile Mnyandu, award-winning journalist, and of course, joining us for the first time, a local, a man of Soweto from Josie FM, we have Themba Shabalala, presenter, journalist, editor. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Hey, thank you. It's been long overdue, man. I watch the show every day, and I've been saying, guys, come on now.
There we go. We listened. We heard you through the TV.
This is my home.
Exactly. No, it just makes sense. You're a natural fit. Gents, let's talk about the weekend's games. Obviously, I'm going to speak to you about Coach Truter's comments, but maybe let's start with what Mangoba Mniti is saying was an offside goal for the equalizer from Morocco Swallows. Their never say die attitude in the end, getting them a point from that game. Themba, offside or no offside?
Come to that thing is still going on social media
Yeah.
now. I mean, offside or no offside. What happened? I mean, you had a player lying on the ground,
right,
waiting for the free kick to be taken, which is something that we've always seen done overseas. You know,
Yeah.
in Europe they master it. Have we done enough to take it to the actual live situation? I'm not sure about that. But coming to Swallows stealing a point at the death of it, you know, it's the second time they're doing it this year, this season rather. They've done it against Orlando Pirates. You know, they stole a point at the death of the game, and this time, you know, with that free kick that left us all not worried about the goal, but worried about the build up to the goal, whether it was offside or not.
Right.
But it's everybody's opinion, like we always say. If the referee says it's a goal, it's a goal. Who am I to argue it? But in this case, I think, without taking any sides, because I always try as much as possible not to be taking any side.
Yeah.
I think Mangoba has got a bone somewhere there where he can say it was or not, but I think Sundowns have got a case.
Okay, you think Sundowns have a case, but Velile, I mean, you know, we don't hear these coaches speak. Bloemfontein Celtic had a case against Mamelodi Sundowns, and then you see what happens at the weekend. I think they've got a term for it, swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, and I think this is something that we've always discussed, to say, you don't remember when the decision benefits you, but when it hits home, you come out.
Sure.
And I mean, for Sundowns, this didn't even last 7 days.
Yeah.
And then it hit them. But I think maybe one will also say, it was the 97th minute.
Yeah.
The game, I think, should have ended in the 94th minute. Or 95th minute.
Right.
Yeah.
So there was an extra minute played. So you look around
But
those
the fat
things.
lady hadn't sung.
Yeah.
Exactly. But for me, it's very tight, that decision. It's very tight. It's very difficult. And I think the player who's on the ground, in a way, also gives advantage to the two solo players.
Yeah, sure.
You know, including Nyatama. With a naked eye, it's very difficult. Yeah. And if it can be difficult for us who are watching on TV, you can imagine now for the men who were on the ground.
Who doesn't have the replay, who doesn't have the pause, doesn't have the rewind, none of that.
Which goes back to the point that I've been advocating for the past few weeks now. Bring technology to the game.
Yeah, the referees need help. The referees need help.
They are human.
Okay, so I mean, looking at this now, this is obviously on the dawn of a new era, sort of new era. Velile, I know you know the story quite well in terms of CEO Motlanthe being finally given the position that he was on an interim basis on. I guess these are some of the things that are going to be on his plate now. Is this, you know, the officiating, the need for technology? Did he take you into his confidence, kind of tell you what plans he has and his vision for the federation?
No, yes, he did. We were at the presser with Mshengo. In fact, the issue of refereeing, I brought it up because I felt that their statement that they released last Thursday appeared to be a bit defensive on the match officials. But they did say that, look, going forward, they are going to make public the decisions of the review committee, because the PSL In fact, the SAFA review committee sits twice a week, and they sit on Mondays, in fact, I think Tuesdays, to review the work from the previous weekend.
Right.
And then they sit on Thursday to review the midweek matches.
Okay.
So the only thing that has not been happening is to publicize the decisions of the review committee.
So do you think that's important that they publicize it?
It's critical. It's critical because
Knowing somehow how people react to individuals. You know, you've taken heat on my social media and
Yeah, no.
So
Look, they've done it previously.
right.
And they take decisions.
Yes.
And because sometimes me and you, and also the viewer, the fan in that matter, for that matter, we will be contesting a decision.
Sure.
But we don't know, or we have not interrogated the proper laws of the game.
Sure.
So the review committee looks at the decision and looks at what the laws of the game are saying.
Yes.
So if that application was perfect,
Yes.
then that referee is good.
For sure.
But I can tell you right now already, there are match officials who have since been suspended, who will not be officiating this season. And the suspension comes in this way. They have been demoted to amateur divisions. And you must understand that hits them in the pocket.
For sure.
Because there's a PSL stipend for those who officiate in the Premier Division and also in the Glad Africa Championship. And one of those, I think it's Jelly Chavani,
Right.
Cedric Mwali as well. And I think the assistant referee who denied Sundowns, in fact the Celtic against Sundowns is also in the firing line. But I think as from this week we are going to see the decisions being published.
And where does that put us, Mshengu, in terms of the high quality referees? Because I don't know, I can't imagine we have more than 2 or 3 FIFA accredited referees. I mean, now and putting a lens on the current stock and seeing someone who was the referee of the season, right, now being wrapped on the knuckles. Where does that put us?
I'm going to play devil's advocate here. How do you expect me to be a part-timer and go and officiate Greg, a full-time football player?
Fair
A
enough.
referee now is thinking of his duty that starts tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock as a police officer is going on shift, right? A teacher is thinking about the papers they're marking on Monday.
So he's not immersed in his job of being a referee.
Exactly.
Right.
Until we get that right, we get the referees to be professionals so that you can compare peers to peers and
No, I
apples
hear
to
you.
apples.
I hear you.
Until SAFA decides to go that route, then we're going to have less or none of these problems. And any problem that will come will be human errors. If you look at it, it has always been happening in lower divisions.
Yeah.
But because there's no money involved except the money that we've always spoken about, Tina, as journalists on the other side, where we say, we know the referees, they need help.
Yeah.
As Veza said, we need help for those guys. They are human. You and I have got the luxury. We can sit here and pause, rewind, stop, fast forward, and see whatever. But they only have split seconds to do that. Why can't we help them? As for the technology, they don't even have sprays, the disappearing spray. Not all of them. So,
But
Yeah, that's true.
for Advocate Mutlante,
Yeah.
the new CEO, in the kitty, he's got 20 million rands a season dedicated to the referee department.
Right.
Coming from Showmax, the new sponsor.
Right.
So it is that money. It is that money. Because from that 20 million, that's not where they are paying the referees from. No. The referees get paid by the PSL
Yes, sir.
through the stipends.
Right.
You understand?
So both, if you put them together, you can make a professional referee's body,
Yeah.
taking that money and the...
No. The professional referee's body, that's, if that story is a story on its own.
Yeah.
Because the PSL, across the road at the PSL, they bought a building long time ago. They were ready to implement this project. But I think they're just not seeing the same way with SAFA on the implementation of that project of getting a professional referee's body. Well, it is something that we have to talk about now.
For sure.
Going forward.
For sure.
But
Can't be this money league, all this money
Yeah.
being thrown around, and then your referees are semi-professional.
But you know what? I still believe that there could be another affordable way of a VAR. Yeah,
The cheaper way.
a cheaper way.
Yeah.
A cheaper way.
Yeah.
Let's see.
But sometimes-
Apparently, FIFA are testing something called VAR Lite. So let's see. Maybe in time that'll come. But let's move on because this one we could sit for the whole show. Bracky's comments after the game. Much has been said about those.
Yeah.
That he almost was going at the other technical team saying, you know, they're crowdsourcing and crowd releasing their tactics. Meanwhile, that's far from it. How did you interpret them?
No, for me, I think Rolani is always one coach that is educated in terms of how he does his things. He do more analysis against the opponents. And it's normal thing as a coach, you analyze, you can educate other coaches, not even the PSL coaches, the amateur coaches, the NFD coaches. You can do that, you know, you can contribute other way. Maybe some people have opportunity in that platform to learn. And playing against Swallows, I mean, it's a normal thing. You know, you don't need to take it on offense. But, I mean, what can you say? A coach that won Coach of the Month twice, you know, I mean, you can say whatever you want to say. But I just think he's so excited. But you need to calm down. I mean, that's out of order for your colleagues. You know, you need to have that respect in the code, in the coaching. You need to have that respect. And he's saying tactics on social media, or they have 3 coaches on the bench, I think he's not on.
Yeah.
He played against a good team. You know, he is very lucky, you know, to get a point. You know, I mean, I don't know how Sundowns did that, because towards the end of the game, they sit back a lot. And when you sit back, you know, you always invite pressure. And a free kick, a corner kick, a deflection can happen, you know. So, but anyway, he has been doing very well. You know, he has done very well for Swallows. But, I mean, I think he needs to reduce his... I haven't said such thing before. I mean, this is the first time, you know, the comments, you know, seems like arrogant comments. But, I mean, what can I say? You know, he has been doing very well with the team. But, you know, sometimes when you in the same point, or you playing the same mind game with a team, you know, Sundowns and Swallows. Now it's becoming mind games now. It's just how the other coaches handle it. I know there's going to be retaliation from the other side, which, I mean, one of the coaches, if not Steve, if not Rolani, I think one will say something back. But we'll just see how it goes, because it's not going to end there. It's going to end. It's still going to continue. There's still cup games. They might meet, and there's still second round.
Well, I guess, yeah, there's still a whole campaign with them challenging each other. But, Billy, this one kind of, you know, it's you in a certain way, because you actually conducted that interview, no, Rolani, where he gave this. And it's important because, you know, we always speak about how tactics, you know, aren't something that we eat as often as the public. So now to have a coach take you into their confidence and say, here, guys, let me break it down for you. I mean, we should be commending him for that.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that touched me about that comment after the game when I listened to it, because I brought that publicly, you understand? And also, it's not like Coach Rolani, we did the interview and then he posted that on social media himself.
Right.
At SABC Sport, we posted that ourselves, you understand? And from what he said, he didn't even get in to say a lot.
Yeah.
You know, because I could have even gone further to say, what do you mean here?
Yeah,
Sure. And it's just a continuation of what we are used to.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking about this with Mshengo, that we've done this previously, even with Steve Hombela when he was still at Chiefs. We've done even with Coach Mangoba before, with Coach Pitso. He liked to do something like this.
Yeah.
There are other coaches, you know, who would go deep. You know, another coach we used to like this was Coach Thabo Sinonge's one.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And it's also a moment to educate.
Yeah.
Of course.
Us as the journalists who are there in the press conference, but also even the fans as well.
Right.
You know, because we get to enjoy this, you know, our knowledge of the game. So it's not something new. So I was taken aback. To say, and also I think one of the things we must understand is that Coach Rolani, he belongs to this young group that we call technocrats.
New generation. Yeah.
This new generation. And like in any industry, you know, in any industry now, the young ones who are coming up, they are more technologically
they like
savvy.
to break something up and build it up again and break it down. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in that space, he is a coach. And on our side, you will find the journalists who are all young, you know, and we experiment, we do all those things. So I think it's just tolerance from their side. And they must understand how these things happen, because most of the colleagues in the industry that I've spoken to, they've been taken aback.
Yeah.
Because
Can't.
it's not something new.
I think if I can chip in there, I mean, it's normal for coaches to break down the opposition and tell us more about that. For me, it's more meat, because if I look at the game, look at the starting 11 and said, oh, here's this player that he was talking about. I must see how he's going to be faring against defender so and so if the player is an attacker. You look at those things, and for me, that's where the meat is. Even when you take the angle, you take the angle based on what the coach has said.
Right.
It's just the same as going to a pre-match training session. Because whatever that you see in training, you'll actually see it on the field of play. It will not surprise me as a person who either wrote the article or did a preview on that match about it.
You're seeing the continuation of the idea.
Exactly. But then again, coaches must understand social media is there for such. But even Swallows themselves, they're the last team to complain because they've gotten on board teasing other teams through and through. Starting from the chairman, he goes on Twitter and he posts whatever that he wants about the other team. Kaiser Chiefs loses, he says MAKUSU ni right. You know, and then all of that, it's the fanfare that comes with it. Let's not take it personally when it happens.
I was laughing as Rolani was going on about breaking down the opposition because he was talking about the inverted fullbacks.
Fullbacks.
You know, and they will not, because most of the time you talk about inverted wingers.
Right.
You know, but now we're talking about inverted fullbacks who come inside early. You know, and I was laughing because another friend a few days before had spoken to me about this.
Right.
So I was laughing because I was like, oh, okay, now I understand. You know? But also I'm getting educated. You know, and I couldn't wait to take this out for the viewer or someone out there to learn.
Of course, and extend the knowledge.
Exactly.
Extend the knowledge. No, that makes sense. I mean, Greg, do you understand that maybe Brakkies has a bit of a chip on his shoulder? Things have been said about them being a retirement village. Things have been said about them, boxing about their weight. Is he just, is this a frustration of a man who says, guys, we're showing you?
For me, I just feel like, he needs to calm down a little bit. But, I mean, apart from his comments and other things, for the team, they have been doing very well. You need to give credit to them. He has done something, different. He has brought something different to the team, a lot of energy, a lot of excitement. The attack in numbers, as you say, the fullbacks, they come inside, they become 5 in the midfield, and the movement from the strikers, and they always have shot on target at goals, sometimes against Sundowns, I was surprised because at first half they sit too deep, with Gabardine trying to be the shadow striker. But second half they really give everything out. So for me, apart from the comment he made, you can excuse him for that. I mean, for a long time I haven't heard him say anything like this, But trying to go against not going against, but say something about your fellow coach, which is not. He's free to say whatever he say, analyze other teams, but for the team particularly, they have been doing very well. We must give credit to them.
Yeah. Also, it's a high-pressured game. Top of the table clash. Emotions will.
Will play for sure.
So you understand. You understand what could have. Because it tells you now that because this is something that happened before the game. So it tells you that they've been discussing this. And maybe had that equalizer not come. If that equalizer wasn't there, maybe it was going to be different for sure. But now, with the equalizer and getting a point, and him saying, we are taking this to Dobsonville in the second round. Oh boy, you can imagine now how is going to be our build-up to that second round clash between the two teams. And hopefully by then, we'll be back at the stadium.
Where was the Sundowns home in the bubble?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Dobson.
Well spotted.
Pisa was complaining about the pitch. No, they must close that stadium. The side is too heavy.
Hey, so it goes way back. Way back.
Yeah, way back there.
Way back, okay.
So, but, I mean, let's just see what they can carry on for now because the next game is going to be very important for them.
It gets exciting.
No, it will be exciting, especially for all the neutrals who want to see how this one festers between the two sides, these coaches, one coaching team up against each other. Let's see what happens. We take a short little break, after which MNF will continue. Please do send those tweets using the hashtag just before MNF on Soweto TV. And welcome back. It's MNF on Soweto TV. Now we're discussing Orlando Pirates and them managing to get 3 points against the Maritzburg United side that a bit stop-start at the moment since the return of Ernst Middendorp. But maybe let's start with the Buccaneers. A good 3 points. Dion Hotto coming good on the day, and I guess it keeps them in the conversation as far as the title is concerned, even though they're sitting, in 5th place at the moment, Breton?
Is it where they should be?
I asked the question. I asked the question. Is it where they should be?
Not really. I mean, Orlando Pirates, looking at them, without even saying maybe other teams should not be there, but Orlando Pirates should be fighting for things.
Sure.
Should be, up in there. Kaiser Chiefs should be up in there fighting for things. Sundowns cannot be just up there alone.
Well, they've won an MTN8 so far, so
yeah. Well,
there's still lots of football to be played.
Yeah. Well,
are you saying the signs aren't there?
The MTN8 is one quick competition where you just play 3 games and then you've got your money. We're talking about the marathon here.
Right.
There are few things that happen that don't make me happy when I sit and watch their play. I've questioned quite a lot. But if you can look at Pirates where they are right now, that's not where they should be. They should be collecting at least out of 3 games. That they should be collecting at least 6 points or 7 points. But now in this case, you find them out of 4 games, they're collecting maybe 2 points. So it doesn't.
But it's not a given, man. You have 2 teams now because you remember back in the days you say that they have the supporters that can support. That's the 12 men to push Pirate, to push Sundowns.
Correct.
Now it's playing field. There's no supporters.
Yeah.
It's your ability to your ability. So now everybody needs to work for his point. You get 1 point, you should be happy. You get 3 points, it's praise the Lord. So now there's no time of saying that Pirate must get 7 points. I feel that other team will not take that lightly if they hear you about that, because most of the teams now. I remember last season with Highlands Park. This when the pandemic started. We said, okay, it's ability to ability. It's not. There's nobody's going to stop you. You're not going to tell me that you call a keeper ball and no one hear you, or communication. There's no discussion about that. It's your ability, what you do on the pitch, and how the coaches prepare you, and you get your points.
Yeah,
that's an
and
interesting point.
I also think they are 6 points off the pace now. Looking at this past weekend's results, and okay, we're looking at. I think most teams now are just 2 games before they wrap up the first round.
The first round, yeah.
For me, I'm more interested in what is going to happen in the second round. You see, once we reach 17, 18 matches, then we're going to be talking real business there. And if I look at the top 4 teams currently, there's
Sundowns,
Super Sport, the Swallows,
and Golden Arrows.
No.
Well,
there's Cape Town City,
Cape Town City,
and there's Pirates.
Yeah.
After this weekend's results.
Yeah.
So that's where now it gets even more interesting. On what are they going to do with the 6 points, and are they going to get through to the group stages of the CAF Confed? It looks more likely that they're going to go through because they're playing Zhoneng Galaxy, and Zhoneng, you saw them against Sundowns.
Right.
So how is that going to affect them, and how are they going to balance things? I still think they are in with a shot. Looking at the squad that they've got on paper, I still feel they are serious challengers.
They are serious challenges
because the second round is going to be a different monster altogether.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I guess at this time when you see the likes of Bongani Sam coming into the side, also showing what he's doing, the young Chobeni came on for his debut. This is the kind of depth. This is the kind of depth you need to take you for the long haul.
I wish one day we can talk about PSL and the young stars. I'm saying to Coach Mandla Kroki, the Orlando Pirates development coach, and I say to him, Coach, you're playing a role at the back seat. Now that you've mentioned the young stars, I said, look at this. I've had the privilege of going to their training sessions and watch them play their MDC games. Stars are not made overnight. There's a whole lot of work that goes into that.
Sure.
And for Pirates to actually be so brave to bench, seasoned players and play this young star, a teenager, only 18, and then they give him the game. He goes in there, he puts his foot in.
Sure.
That is a big one. Could be that the pressure comes from the neighbors, with the youngsters that are playing there.
And also, remember, the neighbors...
But they're forced, the neighbors, though.
The neighbors, they are also scoring.
Yeah.
And it's also on the eve of the derby.
Exactly.
So we are going to the derby with the neighbors in the starting lineup.
With 4 or 5 youngsters, the teenagers are all there, and look at the young boy is getting things done. He's getting man of the match accolades. Who would have thought? Sometimes you need to look at situations as blessings in disguise. I'd be happy for us Kaiser Chiefs looking at what is happening at me, but at Pirates. They cannot complain about young blood. They have a Lepasa that comes from the very same development, all of that. So we need to see teams now being brave to say, now we're unleashing the youngsters. I'm quite happy about that part of the Pirates game. But going forward, there's quite a lot to discuss.
Yeah, but also for Pirates, in relation to challenging for the league now, remember they won the MTN 8 at the
Yeah.
beginning of the season. So that took pressure a bit off them.
Yeah.
You know, so there is no expectation for Paris to really go out and win something because they won some silverware.
So you think that the 3-game cup counts?
No.
Is good enough?
No, because the neighbors now it's with them.
It's
now.
with them
They-
now.
They've not
6
won
years,
anything
7 years,
in
5
6 years or 5 years. You understand?
Right,
So
right.
Pirates can afford to relax and be dark horses, and then launch their attack from nowhere, and they come and win the.
You know, these days the
You
league can
understand?
be decided in the 30
because
minutes.
because
For sure.
if you remember the history, Pirates, they will go 7-8 years and win nothing.
Right.
Then they
Come
come
with the
back.
treble.
And then when
Then
they
they
do,
do the treble.
And a double
And
treble.
when they do the treble,
Yeah.
they start with the MTN 8.
sure.
And they do a double treble.
So it's ominous. Ominous
You're
time.
just taking me back to the days of the double treble. That's what happened.
Yes.
You know, exactly.
I'll tell you what happened in the first treble.
Yeah.
We went to Orlando Stadium, and some of our colleagues even flew to Cape Town. In fact, the senior management of the PSL,
Yes.
those who the head honchos, they flew to Cape Town.
Right.
That's where Ajax was playing
For
Manchester
United.
United.
And then
Yeah.
Hans
You know, I
Vonk
remember
had a
I was there with
nightmare.
OG
I
and
remember.
everyone.
I was at Orlando
Yeah,
Stadium for
Orlando
the day.
Stadium.
Yeah, I did that game. I did that game. Because
Went
everyone
to
thought that
Orlando,
Ajax
and it
was
was
going
just
to
a
win.
normal, okay, no, Paris.
And the stadium was empty.
Yesterday was empty. Second half, things changed. And then the sponsor Vodacom, they came from nowhere. Everyone was wearing a red jersey, you know. So hey,
They could. They
Hey.
could still. You're right. There's still a lot of football to be played. Let's talk about Maritzburg, though, on the other side. With them, you know, here's the side. Under Ernst Middendorp, you think that these kind of games, they're going to be, you know, a thorn in the side of Orlando Pirates. Did you see enough of that from them?
Yeah, you know, Middendorp is an experienced coach. You know, I mean, he has coached Chiefs. Going to Maritzburg, that's his home, you know. But Pirates always have difficulties playing against these teams. But with the quality they have up front, he shows that they, you know, with the quality cross from Bongani Sam, you know, and Otto there, you know, he does that week in, week out in at vets, you know. So I just feel like it could have been something else because Pirates, you know, team like Pirates, we said this last week, they're always going to attack you. They're always going to attack you. Where you're going to break them is only a counter-attack, and which Maritzburg were waiting for. They couldn't get that day because the solid back four, I mean, they had us last week, we were talking about Jele and the captain, you know, I mean, they are doing very well now,
Right.
2 clean sheets in a row. I mean, what can you expect? But I just feel like, you know, Maritzburg shouldn't be counting those kind of points. You know, if you can get your points from other teams and leave the Sundowns, the Pirates and the Chiefs alone, you can be somewhere in the table there.
Okay. And then, very quickly, I just want to ask him in terms of international players. We see MUNDELE, right?
Yeah.
At Orlando Pirates.
Yeah.
How long does it take for a player to find their groove? You being someone who's come into the country, had to play for a local club.
With him, he's a striker. You know, it's very difficult. They judge you with your goals. No matter what you do, you need to score goals as a striker. And for me, I feel sorry for him from the injury he was coming from. And okay, you have a big profile in terms of he's from Belgium. He played a lot of teams. AS Vita is a massive club. You know, for him to come to a club like Pirates, people expect you to produce. But I think, you know, coming since November, he has been here since November up to now. Only played 20 minutes. You know, so far, I think the coaches need to give him more chance. You know, at least with this game against Maritzburg, you know, you need out-and-out striker, experienced striker to be there. You know, but I feel, you know, they know better. He's training week in, week out with them. You know, we only know his profile, what he has done before.
Right.
We don't know how he feels now, whether it's injury. But the coach is saying that no, we need to give him time to adapt. But in the PSL, you need to adapt quick for you to be recognized.
Actually, I asked the coach the same question.
Yeah.
In the post-match press conference, to saying why do you keep Mahango, Mundele as well as Mwowo on the bench when you've got 3 prolific strikers and then you play without a striker? I said he still needs to adapt. It's not as easy, which I don't buy that.
in fact, I was talking to someone, and he says maybe communication could be an issue.
Okay.
And if you know he's French speaking, comes from DRC, and when the team is going through a lot, right, like currently Pirates before this game, communication becomes very important.
Sure.
And it could also be an issue. But I'm also on the other side. angisphayi kakhulu. Uyabona? I have a bit of a problem with that because they've got 2 quality strikers out. Lipasa is out. Mabasa is out. So you have to try all your options. Yes, you talk about communication, but this is an experienced player who played in Europe, who played with even with players who can't even conversate in French. And there's a universal language in the game.
For sure.
You understand?
For sure.
There's a universal language in the game. And I understand that, yes, he's been out in terms of injury, but now he's fit. He's playing.
And I mean, he made the tweet. I think we have the tweet to reference, because does this tweet seem like it's someone who has been communicated to that we're still, you're far away? Because if you know as a player, Uguti, I'm still a while away, why would you tweet that?
Yeah, because you see, we've seen the player. We know the player.
Yeah, quality player.
Yeah. I think, in fact, for the past 2 to 3 or 4 seasons in the CAF Champions League, there is no one who's got better scoring ratio compared to him.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
But yes, fractured his leg twice. That's why he couldn't sign with RS Berkane in the Botola Pro League in Morocco. But, okay, he's been out for some time, but he came back now. He's playing now. So give him a chance. I know previously I was once told that for a foreign player it's not easy.
It's not easy.
It takes time to settle. It could even take you a season.
Yes.
And I understand why he's starting to panic like this. Remember, he's on loan. And now we are reaching halfway the season.
He needs to prove his worth.
He needs to prove his worth. And remember, normally the decision is not taken at the end of the season.
Of course.
It's taken maybe around March, April.
Yes.
So he's tasted the good life in South Africa. He can see what he can get here, but he feels that way he can prove, he should be proving himself
On the pitch, he's not
to
getting the
convince
minutes,
people in the boardroom to now extend the contract. He's not being given a chance on the field of play.
There we go. It's an interesting point. We'll see how this one pans out, but hopefully we get to see his goal-scoring prowess sooner rather than later. We take a short little break, rather, and we're back with more on Monday Night Football on Soweto TV, discussing MAKUSU and more. Welcome back. It's Monday Night Football on Soweto TV. Now, MAKUSU have had to kind of, just manage their excitement. It didn't quite go to plan on the last match day. Wasn't a loss, but a draw against Stellies kind of upended the good momentum and good energy that was surrounding the club of late. But before we get into the game, maybe let's discuss what's been happening in and around. And of course, this may be alluding to the futures of some of the older players at the club, the likes of Willard Katsande. You ask about whether Bernard Parker has a future, even though he has been playing. But maybe this tweet here from Itumeleng Khune might be one that's a bit more interesting, because it seems he was responding to having been called the former first choice. And Twitter citizen reckons he messed up in two games bigly. And then Khune responds by saying, "So do I deserve to be hanged?" Are we seeing someone here who's probably regretting that post-match interview where he almost was a bit too honest in terms of what had gone wrong? He made that big mistake, said, "Listen, I was trying to play out the back because I don't want to play this helicopter football, and now we're here." Is there any way back?
I remember there's a coach who once said, "I wish there was a way that we wouldn't do interviews post-match right after crossing the white line."
Yeah, for sure. It's too
because
soon.
It's too soon.
Right.
Your mind is not settled. I got to understand what Khune was saying there. But for the coach, I think it was, this one is defying what I say. So I think Khune still has got a lot to offer. He's still one of the best goalkeepers we have in the country. You don't become a bad player overnight, especially with these guys. They go on and on and on. I mean, look at Greg. He can still go now and play for the next 5 years.
Right.
I mean,
He was registered last season.
Exactly. So goalkeepers, you cannot compare them to an infield player. But then the senior in Khune gives him somewhat an opportunity to say, "I'm a senior in the team. I can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But then, unfortunately, in football, unlike in rugby and cricket, where the captains have got the right to say to a coach, "No, coach, let's leave him out. Let's take him in. Let's do 1, 2, 3. The captains in football is not as heavy as the other sports.
Codes,
But then for Khune, I understand his frustration. He feels left out in the cold. Is it the end of him at Chiefs? Could be not, but definitely not the end of Itumeleng.
No, for sure. I mean, he's got way too much talent, Velile, and I'm going to speak to the goalkeeper as well. But looking at his current situation, we've seen Umanyama come back into the fold. Could there be an opportunity for KHUNE to also return? Because I always feel like it's either Akpe has to make a big mistake for KHUNE to come back into the fold, or do you think he'll eventually just come in because of the need?
You were in the press conference with the coach, and he was asked a question about KHUNE, why is he not playing? And the coach his response was simple: Akpe is doing well.
Yeah.
In relation now, Akpe has just produced 2 clean sheets in the last 2 matches. In the game before these 2 matches, you saw how he saved Chiefs against that onslaught coming from Cape Town City, the most offensive team in the league today.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
So when Akpe is doing well, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. And I think even Ito himself, he can feel it. It's not like before, you know? I think before this season, if you look back, Ito had not played 10 matches in a row at the club. And this goes for the past 2 to 3 seasons. You understand? So it tells you now, maybe his days as a dominant number 1, I would like to live in terms of talking more about goalkeeping and all those things to a goalkeeper. And also not just a goalkeeper, but a qualified goalkeeper coach.
Yes, sure.
You understand?
Sure.
But if I look now, today, Akpe,
Number 1?
Okay,
number 1,
what's your position
not just number 1 at Kaiser Chiefs,
Right.
number 1 in Nigeria.
Yeah, for sure.
You understand?
For sure.
And we look at when he's played last season. You saw last season who was there to drive Kaiser Chiefs
No, for sure.
till he got injured just before the end.
Yeah,
It was Akpe.
for sure.
You understand?
Yeah.
So let's leave aside all the other side shows and just solely talk about goalkeeping
Okay.
and being there on merit.
Yes.
Akpe deserves to be there. Okay, maybe does KHUNE deserve to be on the bench?
That's my next
I
point.
think then let's leave
speak to
that
Greg.
to
Greg,
You can give us the pecking order as well.
let's talk about that because
No.
is he in or is he out? Why can't he be half in on the bench? What does that mean? Like if you were sitting in KHUNE's shoes and thinking to yourself, okay, that means even if Akpe had to get injured in the first minute, I'm not good enough to take his place.
And also,
So
that's on his
essentially
behalf,
feels like.
let there be a disclaimer. That disclaimer is going to come from
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
You and Mshengu. Just because Akpe is his countryman. He's not talking on behalf of Akpe.
No.
This is purely...
For sure.
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
not going to talk. Akpe, okay, Gavin Hunt as a coach.
Yeah.
He's an experienced coach. Yeah, I've worked with him almost 8 years,
Right.
8 to 9 years. I know sometimes how he thinks and what he feel about goalkeepers. You know, you can be the man of the match and you come to the press conference and say, what did he do? He didn't do anything. How you give him man of the match? It's like that.
Right.
But one thing about goalkeeping is just one position you cannot just change all the time. Because if a goalkeeper is doing well, you need to keep him there because the back four
It's
gets
stability.
confident. Yeah,
Yeah.
stability needs to be there. The back four gets more confident when he's around, which you have with KHUNE. You know, let me just go back. You know, you can say history doesn't matter, but I mean, with KHUNE, I can, you know, gladly say and humble say, you know, play against him so many times and work with him, you know, in terms of when he was very young, you know. He has done very well for Kaiser Chiefs. You know, he has done very well. A lot of trophies, you know, over 17 trophies. Individual trophies, over 13 trophies with the club. You know, I mean, for me, I rate him very high, not
Right.
only in South Africa, in the whole world.
Right.
He got the quality of a goalkeeper to play anywhere in the whole world. But it's unfortunate in this situation, not for his own doing, injuries come in, you know, and when you get injured as a goalkeeper, you need to come back with your fitness. And goalkeeper fitness with a player fitness is a different fitness. You need to be in your positioning wise, you know, your timing, your calculation,
Right.
how you come out for the crosses, how you communicate, how you time the ball. It's very crucial as a goalkeeper. And if you miss that, when you come back, you
It's
break your
usually a big
confidence.
mistake,
You break your confidence back. But you know, with him, you can say, for me, I just think the things he does for him to be dropped it's not a mistake. For me, as a goalkeeper coach, that's why I say to my goalkeeper, it's not a quick mistake. It's about concentration. Concentration, why? Because you get a ball from here, you want to drive it that side. You need to concentrate because it's a dead ball. And it's a static ball. You need to drive it as a concentration. It's not a mistake. Mistake, you say that you want to catch the ball, it pass through your hand.
Right.
That's a mistake.
Right.
That's you make a big mistake. You know, you want to control the ball, you want to dribble the striker. It's a big mistake. But concentration is it's like a set piece. Set piece is a dead ball. You need to concentrate. You need to know the ball is coming. It's not ball in the motion. So with KHUNE, I rate him very high. Gavin Hunt know what he's doing. There's cup games coming. You know, there's and Chiefs is going to play a lot of league games. There's Champions League. There's a lot of things coming up. I think there's KHUNE is still going to play for Kaiser Chiefs. I don't see where he's going to go to. He's not at the end of the career. As a goalkeeper, you really matured when you're 30, 31, 32, 33. Because what supporters are expecting from KHUNE when he was young, he was diving all over the place and doing all those things. Now he's getting matured, so he needs to do all those basic now, positioning wise, and do other things. They're expecting him to be where he was coming from before. It can never be like that. Times moves, and you need to move with time. You just need to do the basic thing now. Akpe is a good goalkeeper. KHUNE is a good goalkeeper. Kaiser Chiefs are privileged. Not only 2 good goalkeepers, with even Bruma there. There are 3 good goalkeepers there in that team. And anyone can play. It's just on the day who is lucky enough to keep a clean sheet or, you know, to do very well. And for me, I think KHUNE is a good goalkeeper. Akpe is a good goalkeeper. Bruma is a good goalkeeper. At times goes on. Gavin will decide who to play. There's a lot of games going on. So I just feel for me, they should not, there's no way for him to go. I mean, you want to go to Sundowns, you want to go to Pirates. Chiefs is playing Champions League. Chiefs is a big club in the country. So he needs to stay there and fight for his position.
Okay. Have we seen a power play here from Gavin? Showing who's boss? Is it sending a signal to anyone else in the camp who might think the next time you want to step out of line, I'm the man in charge here?
I think so. Let me throw a spanner in the works. In my life in football, I mean, Gavin Hunt has never coached a big team.
No.
Gavin Hunt has never coached.
Swallows is the big team.
Swallows is the big team. Swallows is the big team. With his
in terms of the history.
But when he came there, when he was coaching Swallows were there. 3rd, 4th, 5th. Am I lying?
Listen
for the
now,
whole season.
Let's talk
so
now.
It's a big team.
Let's talk now
and competing.
Doesn't make it a big team.
No. I have to say that.
The bed is flying inside.
Remember, this man played for Gavin Hunt.
And Swallows, for sure.
So now you can imagine. You know. And also he won 3 league titles in a row with SuperSport United.
But now you cannot compare Swallows, coaching Leopards, coaching SuperSport, and coaching Kaiser Chiefs. You cannot compare those.
Right.
Once you coached Kaiser Chiefs, you are new yourself in that industry, in that terrain. I mean, look at him. His first interview, he says, I never knew that Kaiser Chiefs has got the village, has got everything like this. I feel like I'm in Europe, you know, because it was a new era in him.
Sure.
And now this is what comes with coaching big name players, big salaries, big name, you know, egos and all of that. But if you can look even at the parking at Kaiser Chiefs is different from the parking at Swallows. It's different from the parking.
But Mshengo, these are all professional players.
Thank you.
These are all professional players. And how you control your dressing room also becomes very important. Because it's important. I'm looking at the reaction also on social media from the comments that the coach made. You see a lot of fans who are happy with how the coach is responding.
But I think it's getting it right.
You understand? Because I feel now, finally, I was going to call it understand?
Sure.
You must know who is in charge.
Of course.
You know. So and this is how I view it. Because yes, there are people who are celebrated, and you know, you will also say that okay, he's getting in that space for the first time, but it's also important that they must know who is in charge.
It's good. Just to
and also to make sure that whatever the comments coming from social media from other players or whoever doesn't get to those youngsters.
Sure.
Those youngsters should know that you can do whatever, say whatever, but it will not influence other players in the team.
Yeah, I think though you're right. Kaliskat Saki. He's the main man because if anything else goes wrong, it is that on the block. You've seen in the past few weeks. I mean, people were saying now he must go, he must stay, whatever. Arguments within the fan bases as well. But now, if you can look at the players need to learn as well that I'm here, I'm an employee.
For sure.
I'm here, I need to work. This man is my boss, I
manager.
report to him. Yes,
for sure.
And then with our South African players, we tend to be more on the players' side without knowing what happens in the team. But I think Kevin is getting it right, but more especially unleashing the young stars to come on board, to show those who might be doubtful of him and his way of doing things, to say, these boys want to be where you were 2 years ago.
And remember what Coach Spicho said about the late Anele Ngonga?
Yeah.
He said, Anele Ngonga, Hlompokekana, Tiane Mabunda, he mentioned some of these guys. Arense, those guys used to make his dressing room quiet. Quiet. And not a single one of those guys you would see him making comments on social media.
There we go. We'll leave it on that note for now. Okay, so there we go. Kaiser Chiefs, an interesting one playing out, but as the season progresses, let's see what Itumeleng and KHUNE'S role is going to be amongst the throng of many youngsters that Gavin has thrown into the fire. We'll be back after this. Welcome back. Now, things go bump in the night, and those include coaches being fired. Dylan Kerr, the latest casualty. I'm sure about my past 11, I'm sitting there, I just hear bloop on my iPad, and I have a look, and there it is, the news that the man has been relieved of his duties. But let's be honest, it's rather ominous when another person who's capable of being a head coach joins your team of coaches. I don't know, for me, that's always a suspicion that, you know, my position here isn't secure. But Temba, tell us, you know the story. What happened here? Why did they part ways with him? Things are still early. Surely he wasn't doing the right things at some points. What do you think led to this?
I think
All results.
The script was already written.
Right. When? Who arrived?
Okay. a good friend of mine,
Yeah.
Sonora Siema, joins Leopards.
Right.
He's a credible coach. Remember, there's your Siemas, there's your Benny McCarthy.
Yes.
I mean, we've spoken to Benny with V, and then he was telling us how much of a good inspiration he has in this coach Siema.
Right.
And then he's one for the future. Even now, as things stand, they are partnering into studying. Benny's the role model. All of that.
Right.
So Siema is the hottest thing right now.
Okay.
Now the pressure will always be on Dylan Kerr because you can't have a man who is actually still receiving praise for what happens at Bloemfontein Celtic, coming to join your technical team, and then when you're blindfolded, you think we don't see what's happening. We saw it from the start to say he might not be the technical director, because you know they used to do it via the technical director. And now
they just put them in your technical
they just
team.
said no, and then
He's the assistant.
he's the assistant. And funny enough, Dylan Kerr is not the one who pointed out and said, okay, like at Amazulu, and he said, I want Munib, I want Bele, you know, I want all of this. I went to Ajax and to
get Vasily,
to get Vasily to come on board. It was not like that.
Right.
It was all said, we give you this, work with this. And now they have no doubt getting rid of the coach. I was listening to Perry Ramuneiwa. Yeah, he was saying he was not fired. They parted ways. I'm like, this man just beat Orlando Pirates. Yeah, it's just the wording that comes with it.
Right.
Just beat Orlando Pirates two, 3 matches ago, two matches ago. And then today he's a villain. He was a hero just down the line. And now I think having to fire him just at midnight, if I can put that, and wake up in the morning to the media houses saying, Haibo, what happened here while we were sleeping? I think we need to do away with those tactics as clubs. I think we need to give more respect to the coaches. I think coaches need to stand on their own as well and have a little body to stand for them. Because Dylan Kerr, why did they go back to him? Why did he agree to go back, knowing that it did not end well even the previous time? So it's
you know, my analogy is, you are a coach. You don't have a job. And you have not had a job for 6 to 7 months. Kids need to go to school. Cars needs to be paid for. The house needs to be paid for. An offer comes. Are you going to think twice?
What are you saying about Dan Malisel?
No.
Sure.
So I don't judge these coaches. You know, I don't judge them when they take these kind of decisions. But you know, I learned just last week, after they had beaten Paris, I learned that even a day before they played Paris, there was a bit of misunderstanding between Dylan Kay and the management. You know, so when something like this happens, you're just waiting for it. Yes, yes, and then you hear the complaints, and you know, because remember, like Msheng was saying, he's been there.
Yeah.
He's not new in that space, and after saving them from relegation, and you don't know what forced him to not to even come back.
Yeah,
you understand?
no, for sure.
So it's football.
It is football.
It's football. Yes, there's gonna be one who comes in is gonna be the new flavor if the results don't come.
So you think they're going to replace him with another coach, or Lisholo CMO will take it on a permanent basis? Co-coaching.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're looking at. Sorry, just to come in. I think that's what they're looking at. Financially, it's viable. They've minus one senior coach, and they've got the two coaches.
Right.
And then, of course, Sundowns has taken that route.
Yeah, the coaching by consensus.
Yeah. But do you think Siema can be a co-coach with one of the assistant coaches?
No, he's not.
Yeah.
He's more experienced than them.
Yeah.
He's more educated. He's still actually at school even now as we speak.
Okay, Simba, we just have a technical issue with your mic. We're sorting it out. But I want us to talk about these pictures real quick whilst we sort that out. In terms of Cape Town City at the weekend, what a thriller that game was as they managed to put Golden Arrows to the sword 4-2. And a lot of character in this one. A situation where, Greg, you're a team, as Arrows, it looked like you were still having that momentum. They take the lead, but Cape Town City, as the home team, just come and strangle the game again.
I mean, for the weekend, I mean, I think it's one of the most exciting games, you know, with a lot of goals.
Six goals, for sure.
6 goals. I mean, Golden Arrows did very well to take the lead, you know, after conceding first. But Cape Town City team, you always expect them to score. The only worst part in them is just conceding goals. You know, they don't know how to defend. Defending is not their strong point, if I may say that. You know, I mean, second worst team in terms of conceding. Yeah, but attacking wise, you know, they have that play. They want to entertain. But Golden Arrows, unfortunately, they have to lose their unbeaten record in this game. I mean, what can you say? With Lake, I mean, that's the goal from Lake. He really deserved that because he puts everything on the line. You know, he could have collided with the goalkeeper, or anything can happen there. But you know, he really did well to get that goal. But I mean, they deserve it. They deserve it. You know, they deserve to win this game, Cape Town City.
Yeah, I think Jan Olderickerink, he's got a way that he's got this team playing, but you know, now we see the table has changed at the weekend. Is it something that can be sustained? We speak about consistency in our league. Have they been consistent enough, and will they be consistent enough to be in and amongst the top 3, do you think?
Earlier today, I was looking at the highlights of their game against Leopards last week, and they were playing away. Ralani scored a brace there. And when you look at the team and something very exciting, I mean, the passes that he was getting from Nodada and how he took that brace as well.
Yeah.
You know, so for me, and to see them now, this win, it was also, they were extending, you know? Yes. I think for the first time, it's been long since they had 2 back-to-back wins, you know? So to see them having back-to-back wins, it tells you something.
Yeah.
You know, it tells you something. Just go to the first goal.
Yeah.
Craig Martin starts a move, gets it to Nodada plays Mdantsane, and then Craig Martin is at the end of that move.
Yeah,
you know, beautiful football. They play brilliant football.
Yeah.
You know, they play brilliant football. But maybe the challenge, you know, is, as you say, them conceding.
Yeah.
But it's a typical Dutch football.
For sure.
You know, remember the season when Ajax Amsterdam was doing well.
Yeah.
You remember also our own Ajax Cape Town. You know, they would score
for sure, but leaky at the
but one thing they'll make sure they'll outscore you. Remember their game against Sundowns. I think they won 4-3 or it ended 4-4.
I remember that.
Yes, I think in that game Franklin Kane was already with Sundowns.
Right.
You know, so it's typical Dutch football. And now look, they are back in the top 4 now. So,
but they're not consistent. You'll never put your last cent to say this is the team that is going to challenge for the league until the last. Yes, on cups they'll always grab one here maybe per season, but it's not a team that you can say definitely they'll go and challenge for the league honors.
Yeah, well, if you can't keep a clean sheet,
then
you're not
very
guaranteed a
difficult.
point.
Okay, gents, unfortunately, that's all we have time for. It is whizzed past. I'm sure you felt it as well. Thank you to you at home. We really appreciated you being part of the conversation. And of course, just remember that we're going to be able to turn this around on our YouTube so you can catch up with what the guys have said. But spread the word. Let them know that we've had even a new guest. From Timbane, thank you so much for joining us. Belile, Greg, appreciate you too. For myself, Gamza Mata, and the team that made this possible. Until next week, sharp.